Welcome back, everyone. Now we're going to look at the as operator. So let's go ahead and check out this little collection that I'm creating here. So I'm saying clear collect, and I'm creating a table in memory called employee collection, and I'm giving it 3 rows, and I'm providing sample data, which essentially has 3 columns in it. Okay, so let's look at this, and it won't make a lot of sense to even use it in the context of the example that I'm giving, but I do want to point out a couple of things here. So let's go ahead and use the employee collection. Let me shorten this up so this looks a little bit better. Okay, and maybe make it a little longer. Okay, so here I am. I'm going to go to the gallery. Now, watch what happens when I use as employee. Okay, so as soon as I do that, I get a bunch of errors, and you might think, well, why am I getting the errors? Well, if I go and look at it, it's looking in the context of this item, but this item has completely changed. Now look at this text over here. When you use the as operator, it overrides this item and this record in galleries and record scope functions. Okay, so what that's saying is that once you change, or once you use the as, you're going to have to go through and change this item or this record to employee for anything that you may have in code. So I'm swapping out, as you can see right now, this item for employee, and life is absolutely good. Everything's fine. Now, this is all well and good for a gallery, say in galleries. Now, watch what happens when I try to delete this and insert a table. So let's go down here, data table, let's choose employee collection again, make this a little smaller, make it a little shorter. All right. Let's add some fields. Let's add the name, the department, and age. Okay, so life is good here. Now let's go to the items and let's do as employee. Okay, you notice something? I got a squiggly for as, and it's saying as is not permitted in this context. So the takeaway here is you can only use as when you're dealing with as inside of a gallery. It doesn't work on a table. So definitely you need to remember that moving forward. All right. Another thing I want to show you here is I'm going to jump over here into the documentation, because they do a really good job, and I didn't want to go ahead and set all of this up because they actually did a pretty good job of explaining this here. So here's the as operator. You can see you got employees, plural, as employee. And by the way, if you're using Dataverse always pluralizes your tables. So this is actually a really good use case for this. So you got a list of employees, but you change it out to employee. And then notice, once they've done that, for the picture, you don't say this item.picture, it's employee.picture, right? So where does this really shine? Every once in a while, you need to make multiple passes on the same table. And for those of you that know anything about Transact SQL or SQL NC92 with regards to just generic SQLs, like maybe, I don't know, any other type of RDBMS that you're doing, you're probably familiar with the aliasing of table names, so you can iterate or loop over the same table or join the table to itself. And this is the same type of concept. So if I've completely lost you, then scratch everything I just said and let's explain it this way. So what you're doing is you're going to take inactive employees, and what they're doing here is they're providing a filter on the employees table. Now this is the way that it is straight up out of the box, or straight out as it is in Dataverse. However, what they want to do is they want to now iterate through that same table, this inactive employees table, but they can't do it with the same name. So what they do is they change the base table, and then they give it an alias called employee. And then what they're doing is they're patching the employee table, which is really the inactive employees table, but it was changed here with this alias. And then they're looping through this, and then for each row, what they're doing is now they're marking the employees as active, okay, from inactive. So maybe there was a handful of I don't know, items that got deactivated. But the point is, this is a really creative way to use a single table object in a statement, as you're seeing here, but by aliasing it, it makes it really clean because it treats a single entity table as if it's two separate, distinct tables, but it's not. In this example, it's really all just inactive employees. But when you see, you know, the employee here, we're patching this fake table or virtual table or aliased table. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. You may have a use for this down the road, but just keep in mind this is exactly where this particular as statement shines. Not so much in these examples and not so much in the example that I showed you earlier. All right, guys, that's it for this video. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.